Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. We're like, are we doing the boop thing?
Yeah.
Boop. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate those of it. Oh, I see you. I see your man. Your man thing is in the chat.
Say what?
He was at the office or whatever.
He is. I was texting with him. He was telling me about different episodes of things getting pulled from different streaming platforms.
Yeah, okay. I saw. Let me see. There's an episode of with Bob and David. I used to watch. What's that?
We have all the DVDs.
Yeah, but
Mr.
I used to
Show
watch
with Bob
Mr.
and
Show.
Dave.
Yeah,
Mr. Show.
There's, I guess, it's just called With Bob and David on Netflix or whatever. There's another.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a different because Mr. Show was an HBO show.
Oh, they had a new.
Netflix
you're
show.
Right. They had a new one,
and they pulled that episode
one. I don't
off
remember.
Of there. Yeah, because David.
Oh, that's what got pulled. None of the old stuff.
Yeah, I guess it was. What was it? Bob Odenkirk in blackface, or was it David in blackface? One of them.
See, I can't remember because I didn't care for that new season very much, so I only watched it once.
Because I know. Let me see. I can find it because it was one of them was in blackface.
I was trying to think what possible episode got pulled, and I didn't think of that new Netflix season.
Because I'm like, let me see. I'm pulling it up because I just saw this on my Twitter feed. So,
man, I wish I remember so I could comment on it better.
Okay, let me see here. Let's see. The sketch called Know Your Rights was in the third episode of the show, which aired for one season in 2015. Cross alerted his Twitter followers that the sketch was being pulled on Monday. So, yeah. David Cross was in blackface.
Okay,
so David Cross had blackface on.
I don't think I actually saw that episode because I think I never saw the first two.
I watched all of Mr. Show when it was on HBO. I love Mr. Show, and they did some offensive shit on Mr. And I was like, I don't have a problem with offensive humor.
Yeah. No, Mr. Show's hilarious.
Mr. Show is hilarious. Don't stick your dick in that hole.
Don't stick your dick in that hole. These free hole. Like, oh man, it was hilarious.
So yeah, I love Mr. Show. Mr. Show was hilarious.
Good night.
I don't know. We got to stop this shit. I don't know what it is about COVID. We've got to stop this shit where we're going back 5-10 years looking for old ass tweets from people and stuff like that, and just you said something 8 years ago. And
I'm very much like you need to live in the present and keep trying to move forward and like make your life or make whatever you want to make better, whatever. Like just be a good person, live in the present, and keep moving on. Like because that's what life is.
Well, what was it last week? They were getting Mark Wahlberg. Now let's be real.
What? I haven't heard about this.
Okay, Mark Wahlberg.
I don't pay attention to this stuff.
Now, this was public knowledge. It's on his Wikipedia page. This is not new. He was asked about this on the air about 5 or 6 years ago on ESPN when he's going First Take when Skip Bayless was there instead of on Fox Now. He's on Fox Now with Shannon Sharp, but he was on with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, and Skip Bayless asked him on the air, okay, apparently Mark Wahlberg used to be a racist.
Used to be a racist.
I'd say used to be. I'm basing that on the shit that he did and that he got convicted of, harassing a couple of minorities. I'm talking about like throwing stuff at them, hitting them with sticks and chasing them and calling them racial words. Yeah, I mean this stuff it's available.
Okay,
you can look this up online. Matter of fact, he actually got. I thought this was an Asian man that him and some friends beat up.
Oh my god! And, this is in his youth or something.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was like 16, 17, whatever it was. He actually got convicted for 2 years.
Yeah, that's not a good 2
years. And now what happened? I don't know what happened, but he only did like 45 days of the 2 years that he was convicted of. He was supposed to spend time in jail for 2 years.
Yeah, he probably had a good lawyer. Spent money on.
Yeah, something happened.
Wahlberg money.
His brother was in the new Kids on the Block and stuff like that. So either way, somehow they got him off. They got him off.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm just saying this is the truth. This is so it's been
brought up again.
But like I said, this was on Wikipedia. He's admitted this on television 5 or 6 years ago or whatever. This is not news. But then all of a sudden I guess someone went and found out. They were like, wait a minute, Mark Wahlberg was harassing a couple of my, because like I said, I know there was some black youths that he had chased and threw stuff at and called him the N-word. He did that stuff. These are facts. These can be Googled, right? But this happened in like 1987.
Is he doing anything of importance right now that we should even give a shit about?
No, he said Black Lives Matter.
Oh, so because he said Black Lives Matter, we have to say he's a liar.
I noticed. No, that's what happened. And I've noticed that with a lot of the celebrities that are getting blowback now, if they say Black Lives Matter, matter of fact, someone else I want to talk about, Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell, he got a lot of blowback, and as did Grant Gustin that plays the Flash on the CW. They both got blowback because they posted, especially on Instagram, they were like, Black Lives Matter, everyone. And they put the black icons up, and they did the whole thing. They did the blackout, right? So I noticed Stephen Amell did that, and they were like, you have barely said anything about racial injustice on your show. And there was someone on his show that felt discriminated against, and he never spoke up for him or whatever. And then Grant Gustin, the chick that plays Iris on the show, she got called all kind of N-words and everything. Grant Gustin never said anything. So he said Black Lives Matter. And then I noticed a lot of people were giving him shit in his comment section.
Is Grant Gustin the Flash? Is he the lead?
Yes, Grant Gustin's the Flash. And they were like, when your co-star was getting called all kind of N-words and all this because they did some racial color blind casting. That's what they did. Okay. When they changed the race of it, it's called color blind cast. So they did the color blind casting, which all Hollywood is doing right now. So they did color blind casting, even though Iris West is white in the comics, and thank God she's still white. I hate when they change. I usually don't care, to be perfectly honest, but it kind of depends. For me, it kind of depends. I like when the people, when they make the material, when they translate it onto the small screen or the big screen, I like it to be consistent with what I've been reading for, that's why, I got a lot of heat when I talked about I didn't like Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin, because I always like that big fat white guy with the cigar. That's always been what I like. And my sister got mad at me. My sister was like, how dare you? This is a black man getting a job and all that. I was like, you don't read comics. Shut the fuck up.
It's not about that.
My sister doesn't even read comics. So I'm like, you don't read comics. Shut up. You don't know who the Kingpin, you just know Michael Clark Duncan. I didn't say Michael Clark Duncan isn't a good actor. I didn't say he shouldn't work, but I'm saying that the Kingpin, as long as I've been alive, has always been this fat white guy that's really not fat.
Do you think that would be the same as like if they were to cast, like, just do something really crazy outside of the box and like cast Superman as like this skinny little not muscular guy? Like do you think it's changing? Like, do you think changing the race is changing the character, or is it just because you had such a like connection, let's say, to Kingpin?
Oh God, I don't know. I love Kingpin because of Frank Miller. So Kingpin sucked before Frank Miller borrowed him for days. Talk about Kingpin. Kingpin's a Spider-Man villain. I think it was Spider-Man 51, I think. Something.
You are asking the wrong person, Antonio.
Yeah, I was like, it was either 50, 51, somewhere around there. He came in, I believe it was John Romita Sr. And was it who's the writer on that? I can't remember. I don't know if it was Stan Lee or not. I don't think Stan Lee was still writing Spider-Man at that time, but please correct me in the chat. But John Romita Sr. was the co-creator. I'm pretty positive of that. And they let me see. Okay. Boom. Let's see. Mighty Geek Studio. The Kingpin is a martial artist, more precisely a sumo wrestler. Yes. But that's stuff that all that shit got added in. See, that's why I'm going back. All that shit got added in because of who? Frank Miller. Frank Miller had a lot of the Asian stuff that was in the Wolverine limited series that he did with Chris Claremont. That, having the ninjas and all that's Frank Miller's influence.
Isn't that kind of the history of comics, though, Antonio? Things change. They are constantly, a writer will come in and change something, start something over, do it their own way. Isn't that a constant thing?
But yeah, and you should, because if you're going to take it, you have to be able to, and it's a new run. I understand, you need to be able to bring people in and bring in new readers and all that good stuff. So, okay, Boogie's got it. Amazing Spider-Man 50. That's the first appearance of the Kingpin. Like I said, I knew it was 50 or 51. But who was the writer on that, Boogie? Find out, because I don't think it was Stan Lee. I think he was well off the book at that point. But let's see. Adam Manetta said Duncan would have been a great Barracuda in a Punisher. Ooh, I can see that. But Kingpin, big fat white guy. He's the Kingpin of crime. Has a cane that shoots a laser beam. It had a cane with a diamond at the end, and it shot a laser beam out. That was, see, you gotta laugh. You look like you tried not to laugh. That's the Kingpin.
It's funny.
But he's fat. But then when Spider-Man attacks him, he goes, wait a minute, this fat guy is way faster than he should be. And I punched him as hard as I could, and he was able to actually, because that's when that was the whole thing. I remember when they were talking about his origin, the whole point of the Kingpin is, even though he looks fat, it's not fat, it's muscle.
Oh.
So even though he looks, he's let's see. Boom, boom, boom. He was made a martial artist because of his interactions with Daredevil and the Heroes. But again, a lot of his interactions with Daredevil is because of who? Frank Miller. And I was like, and Frank Miller took over.
But what does that have to do with the race of Kingpin?
But that's why I'm just saying, I started as a young guy, reading Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. It became like the Bible. It was, it's incredible. It completely changed the character. It stands. I mean, what Frank Miller did with Daredevil, they were about to cancel Daredevil. Daredevil was coming out like bi-monthly at one point, and they moved him. They left him. He left New York. Frank Miller is the devil. Daredevil's the devil of Hell's Kitchen. That was the whole point. He's in Hell's Kitchen. So they go, let's take Daredevil out of Hell's Kitchen. We're going to send him to San Francisco. And then we'll have Black Widow be his roommate. And they're going to live together. But we can't have them sleeping in the same bed together, even though they're a couple. So they'll have separate bedrooms. These issues are available, but nobody can. So yeah, they did. Oh God, these are the stories. This is what it's like in the wrestling business when they say you killed the town. This is what killed the town in Daredevil. They moved him out of New York and moved him to San Francisco. And this is, so I was like, oh God. And it was horrible. And like I said, they were doing the same thing with Captain America. It started coming out like quarterly or once every other month and stuff. And Steve Englehart. That's why, when I had Steve Englehart on last year and we talked about his career when he was getting into the business, he talked about, they were about to cancel Captain America. And they just was like, hey man, we don't have anything to lose. Let's let this guy write. And he wrote Captain America so well that it ended up outselling Spider-Man. It became their number one selling book. His run is legendary. This is what happened. And the same thing happened with Frank Miller. Frank Miller, Daredevil's about to be canceled. They don't care about the book. They go, Frank Miller's an artist. He had actually did a fill-in issue on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. I think it was in the 80s or so. It was like 81 or 82, around there. I have the issue because the guest star on that issue was Daredevil. Daredevil made a cameo. He appeared in the story with Spider-Man. So this is the very first time. That's why I had to collect the issue, because it's it's Frank Miller's very first time ever drawing Daredevil.
You are cracking me up right now, Antonio.
Why?
You're just geeking out on this, like,
Because
so
I love
hardcore.
comics. I love comics.
I know. It's
But-
just.
But no,
I know nothing about this.
But yeah, Frank Miller did a fill-in issue on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. It was a fill-in issue, and it was beautiful. His style actually looks very different in that issue. I think it was like 80 or so, 81. Like I said, I have the issue. It's in my long boxes, but it was, like I said, Peter Parker, Daredevil, Matt Murdock shows up. This is the very first time that Frank Miller gets to draw this character. Somehow, a few months later, they're about to cancel Daredevil, and Frank goes, "Can I have the book? You're about to cancel it anyway. Well, you got to lose." They give it to him.
Nice.
And he creates legendary storylines. Legendary. I mean, it's incredible what he did with the character. Hold on, let's see. Hello. Let me see. We got people. He's on Twitch. Diabetes. Who's? I don't know how to say your name, but boom. But yeah, hello. All right, welcome. Thank you for watching. Let's say Frank. Yeah, Frank Miller's run and John Romita Jr. Yeah, well, John Romita Jr.'s run was with Ann Nocenti, who I also got to interview. So that was John Romita Jr. because Ann Nocenti, I don't remember, she did a couple issues with somebody else. And then they brought John Romita Jr. on with her, and they did the Typhoid Mary storyline. All this. Ann Nocenti wrote Daredevil for almost 5 years because Frank Miller only wrote Daredevil for like 2 years, 2.5.
What did you think about Vincent D'Onofrio
as the king? Oh, love him.
as the Kingpin.
Oh yeah, he was dope. Yeah,
I thought he was
dope. Yeah, I more of that, and not because he's white, because he was brilliant in the. And I don't know. I guess if it's like when they made Will Smith Deadshot, and I was like, okay, yeah, he didn't feel like Deadshot to me.
Well, Will Smith just feels like Will Smith to me.
Kind
of like, I don't know. You grow up with Fresh Prince, and then at a certain age, you're that, Independence Day comes out, and then he's kind of just that for like
he's that in every movie, even in Hancock. He's just
that guy
with superpowers. That's what it is. He's every and yeah, that's exactly. See, you understand. He's just Will Smith with superpowers now.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything transformative to the character. And that's why I felt like, he put his little, matter of fact, notice how he wears his hat in Suicide Squad. He put the little boom. If you go back to like iRobot, he's doing that same, like, I put my little hat on like this. I got to make sure I got my swag on. He's the same character in every movie.
He has to, it's the Will Smith brand. Yeah, it's just, that's all it is.
That's what I'm saying. So he's like, he's just Will Smith. He's and starring Will Smith as Will Smith.
As Will Smith.
Yeah, that's what it is. So you're not getting it. And so, yeah, he did some cool stunts and everything where they show, Deadshot can shoot. Yeah, he did some cool shit, but I never thought he put his stamp on that character. And then when they said Suicide Squad 2 was going, and then they was like, okay, Will Smith's out. And I was like, I love Will Smith. I just never bought him as the character. So that's,
you're never going to, because it's Will Smith.
I hate when they race swap the characters, though, and I say that. I hate when they race swap the characters. And like I said, Michael Clark Duncan is the Kingpin. I think because the Kingpin is one of my all-time favorite villains, is it
more personal then?
Yeah, I think I was way too attached to the character. And then so I wasn't really crazy about Ben Affleck playing Matt Murdock either. Went to the movie.
1 second, Antonio.
What happened? Oh, okay. Well, let me see. Let me talk to the guys. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you was gonna be. I was like, you gonna be gone?
I just realized I had all my bras hanging there on the door.
Okay. I was like, is something going on? Well, I was like, all right.
Someone's coming in the house.
If you want to see Jill's bras, just rewind a few seconds. But let me see.
So what were you asking?
Okay, hold on. Let me.
What next? What's next on the agenda?
Do you guys have Netflix Daredevil on DVD or Blu?
No. Why? Is there like a special thing? If it's on Blu-ray?
Is it still on Netflix? I thought it was still on Netflix.
I would assume
it is. They have
on
released it on
Netflix.
DVD, but I don't have it. I just watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a very long time. I really love that first season.
Though. Oh, you said Duncan can't help it if he ain't white. Yeah, I get that, but
see, but Antonio, you kind of contradicted yourself because you said Vincent D'Onofrio. You're like, it wasn't about. You're like, it's not even that he was white. He was just awesome as that character. So can't you give Duncan a chance?
I gave him one, and he just didn't fit. He didn't feel like the Kingpin to me. He didn't. Well,
then there you go.
He didn't feel like the Kingpin. If he had just blown me away, and I'd be like, you know what, I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's like when Arnold Schwarzenegger was cast as Mr. Freeze. Wasn't buying it. Now Mr. Freeze is white, but I didn't buy Freeze.
That movie's terrible.
That movie is terrible. But it was supposed to be Patrick Stewart as Mr. Freeze. And they were gonna do the animated series Mr. Freeze, which
I think it would have been just as cheesy, though. I don't know.
Patrick Stewart?
Been good.
Oh no, Patrick Stewart.
It just dropped into that movie. It wouldn't have made the movie any better.
Oh well, yeah, because
George
Clooney was bad. George Clooney was bad as Bruce Wayne.
Yep, not a good not a good Bruce Wayne.
And
I agree.
The dude that played Robin was Chris O'Donnell. Didn't like him as Robin.
I like classic movie era Michael Keaton, not Adam West classic, which is fine too. I don't care.
Oh, Q Nerd said it's still on Netflix, but I like physical copy. Okay, well,
I like physical copies too, especially we're talking about all these things getting pulled. They're pulling in other countries.
Gone with the Wind, right? So they pulled Gone with the Wind.
They're pulling it.
They're putting it back. They're putting it back with a black woman telling everybody that racism is bad. And now
it's like an essay at the front of the movie.
Yeah, and I was like, that shit's. I understand. You gotta. But there was something that they released, and I remember Whoopi Goldberg did one of those. This is made from a different time, but we show this so that you can get that in context. And then they go, all right, now let's get back to putting everybody in blackface again. You know what I'm saying? If you look at all those old Looney Tune cartoons and all that, that they pulled from the air, they won't show them anymore. Yeah. Although they might still air I've talked to friends internationally and they go, oh yeah, over here when they sell the box sets and stuff, those things are still in there because they're not offensive to us. They're just offensive to you Americans.
Right.
Like Song of the South, there's DVDs of Song of the South that are sold over in Europe and other parts of the world. But over here, it's offensive. So they won't show it.
But they can make a whole ride based off of it.
Yeah,
I've never understood that. Like,
at some point, you have to check your offense. I'm like, damn, what was the thing I tweeted out the other day? Lady Antebellum. We did not realize that the word antebellum has connections to slavery. We do not want to. I mean, they've been Lady Antebellum for a decade and something now.
Right, forever.
They've been putting out records. It's like.
I also saw that they've changed their name to Lady A. But did you also see? I guess there's this
the black
artist.
Girl.
Yes, the black woman named Lady A.
The jazz singer. There's a black singer that actually owns the copyright, from what I understand. She actually has a copyright, which at least is 10 or so years old.
Okay.
Nice. She has the copyright to Lady A, and she said, I saw they interviewed her, and she said she gave a statement to Rolling Stone, and she said she's going to speak with her attorney and see, because she doesn't want to give up her name.
Well, she shouldn't have to. They can think of something else.
Yeah, she was like, I've been performing as Lady A for, over a decade or so. She's like, I'm not giving up my name, and she owns the trademark. So
yeah.
But Lady A,
when I saw that, I had to laugh though.
Here's the thing though. Even though you have a copyright, even if you have a contract, any of that kind of stuff, I found out from my buddy Sean Mutaki, copyrights and all that shit don't mean shit if you got a lawyer and some money. Let me tell you a story that he's told me a few times. I've been friends with Sean Mutaki. Sean Mutaki is the guy that founded Uprising Records. He was the front man in a band called Vegan Reich. You can Google his name; it'll come up because he signed a lot of bands. Uprising Records was the first record label that Fall Out Boy was on, and The drummer from Fall Out Boy was in a band called Race Trader. He was in some kind of he's out of Chicago. He was in a band called Race Trader, and they would do it. They were doing real edgelord stuff. So they would the singer. He was the drummer, and he they get on their whole gimmick. They get on. They do these little punk shows at these clubs, and they would be calling people like wiggers and all this. It's like they would be doing that kind of stuff, trying to be real edgy, and then they go into the next song. It's that kind of thing. So they were in a band. The drummer for Fall Out Boy was in a band called Race Trader. And then obviously that band broke up. But Race Trader was signed to Uprising. And then he hooked up with the guys that became Fall Out Boy. I know one of them dated Jessica Simpson's sister and had a baby with her or whatever. So I can't remember that guy's name, but he was like one of the guitar players. But Fall Out Boy was signed to, and I think it was called My Dinner with Fall Out Boy. That record is still available like on Amazon and stuff like that, because that Sean was selling that record. Traitor, the second one, Yule, like a Race Trader. Yeah, it was Race Traitor. And this is a real band. I'm not playing. And the drummer for Fall Out Boy he was the drummer for Race Trader. And like I said, it became Fall Out Boy. And Fall Out Boy was signed to Uprising Records. And they had a multi-album deal. Like I said, Yule, they were just trying to be funny. They were trying to be edgy. It was like, it's metal. They're trying to be, we're going to get in and call everybody wiggers and all this kind of stuff and be funny. They were trying to do that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's real. They're trying to be edgy and metal. Because he says, I'm not a racist or anything, so it's just trying to be funny. So they formed Fall Out Boy. They signed to Uprising Records, just like he was signed with Race Trader. Sean thought these guys were real cool with him. He said they came over to his house. His kids were young then. They would come over. He said, man, these guys were in my house. They played with my kids, all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden he gets a knock on the door. He thought they had a good relationship, and it's a lawyer serving them with like cease and desist. What had happened was they were starting to get a little buzz. Mm-hmm. They were a hardworking band. They were going out on the road. Fall Out Boy blew up and sold millions and millions of records, right?
Right.
But they were starting to get some buzz, and Warner Brothers approached them, and they were like, "Hey, we think we can take you guys. You're on this small label. We can take you guys to the next level." And like, we're signed to Uprising though. What are we gonna do? Don't worry about that. We can get you out of that deal. And so they worked out a behind the scenes deal with Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers, even though they had an ironclad contract,
right? And
Sean had a good lawyer. I know Sean sent me a contract. We did some because that's why I had a record label called Midgets with Machetes, and we put out two. me and Brad Thompson, the guitarist for the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. We put out a couple of records through Uprising Records, which are still on streaming services now. You can check out Dorcia, and you can check out the Cast Pattern, and I
will have to do that.
Matter of fact, I actually own these songs, so I shouldn't get a copyright strike. If I get a copyright strike, I can show contracts and stuff. So I should be able to.
Nice.
I actually own the. I have the master.
So what you're saying, Antonio, is Lady A may be fucked right now. The original,
the black original. Lady A, the black Lady A. She doesn't have the 40, 50, $60 million like Lady Antebellum does. Right. And she also doesn't have a major record label willing to put millions and millions and millions of dollars protecting copyrights and filing trademarks and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I was glad to hear that she had some kind of legal documentation.
Something, yeah.
But
but with this being in the news, I would assume Lady Antebellum would have to back down from that.
They haven't so far.
That's ridiculous.
If you go on their actual Twitter is at Lady A now. They changed their Twitter. I don't think they've changed their Instagram yet, but they said give us a couple of days. They were going through all because they were wanting to change all their social medias and stuff.
Why don't they go by Lady Ant? They could do that. That's something. I could care less. I don't even. Are they country?
I just wish they were Lady Antebellum again.
What are they? What type of music are they?
It's country, but it's new country.
Okay, definitely not my style.
Country don't sound like it did when I was a kid.
It's like pop.
Yeah,
music.
It's like because once they started, like when Taylor Swift came in, she don't sound, Taylor Swift, she doesn't even call herself country anymore. And that's what she was. She was a country artist. Taylor Swift was like, okay, I'm country. I think.
Or not.
that's the thing. You have a bunch of these new artists that are country and they're not really country. Carrie Underwood, not really country.
I just know her from America. To me, she's just an American Idol person.
Yeah, but she was always, even on American Idol, she was a country artist.
That's true. But it was that new country.
It's new country. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want old school country, I'm talking like Waylon Jennings, George Jones, all that stuff. And, Reba McEntire, which her and what's the chick that with Kelly Clarkson both love Reba McEntire. Reba McEntire's like, country radio won't play me no more. She's like, if I put a record out, they won't play me. They put me on the old country station or whatever.
My sister loves the show Reba. Loves it. She had a
R.T. Bear. Well, hello, R.T. Bear. How are you, sir? I see. The great R.T. Bear. Big fan of his.
Everyone's like, what is going on? What are these two people talking about?
We're just talking about random shit that's pissing me off on the internet.
Super random.
Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of weird. I blame the COVID. I honestly do. I blame
people have a lot of time on their hands.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
So, that's why I'm saying, like, when I mentioned like the Stephen Amell thing, he just said, "Hey, Black Lives Matter," and then they go, "You didn't care about Black lives when this happened."
But if he didn't do that, they'd be on him for not doing it either. So, what can you do? Like a half screen, like a half, like a black and white cookie. Like, or something, like on
Seinfeld. Look to the cookies.
Yes, I'm going to make some black and white cookies. I have a recipe.
I love that scene. No, I love the scene.
I love Seinfeld, Antonio.
No, I love Seinfeld.
Yeah, me too.
But I love the scene when they're in the bakery and he's eating the black and white cookie. And he looks over and the black man is eating the black, and they both look at each other like.
Like, what's up?
That was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
There's so many moments in Seinfeld. It's okay. So it's good to know that you like Seinfeld too, because I love Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
I'm a black man, and I'm apparently not supposed to like Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah. Why? It's because it's like so white. It's so
it's
whatever.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to like Seinfeld. I'm not supposed to like Frasier because I've mentioned that I like Frasier. Now, Frasier is definitely dry humor. I understand why the Negroes.
I don't like Frasier as much. But I don't like Kelsey Grammer so very much.
But see, that's the thing. It was
but that was his character.
The humor on Frasier or Cheers is definitely it's not like straight up buddy average guy comedy that the average black household is going to gravitate to. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? I understand why when I say, hey, I like Cheers, I like Frasier, they go, why aren't you watching Homeboys from Outer Space? Malcolm and Eddie. All of I'm supposed to watch this stuff. I was like, it's like when Fox first started on. The only places you find black TV shows was on Fox, and then Fox got once they built an audience, they shifted and made it whiter. All the broadcast shows made it whiter. And then they started up UPN. UPN did the same thing. Mm-hmm. They started up with all the black shows. That's where you get Homeboys from Outer Space.
Right.
What was the show where I can't remember the guy? He was a slave. He was a former slave or whatever. He was a butler for Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln was a gay dude. And
show?
Yeah, this was
a UPN show.
It was a UPN show. It was offensive. It ran for one season. It was like it pissed all kind of folks off. They was like, wait a minute.
I'm gonna Google offensive UPN show and see if
man. Up. So and maybe put in Abe Lincoln in there. Man, I can't remember because the guy Chi McBride, that was him. Chi McBride was the slave butler guy. And he was a butler in the Lincoln White House. And
is it The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeffer?
Yes. Hold on. Let me. I cut you off. Say that again. Say the name of it.
The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeffer.
And
I believe the Clerks animated series make a reference to Desmond Pfeffer in that as well.
Because they said that show. They said that show was one of the most racist, offensive show, and it was a black man that was the star of it. And Chai McBride, I would love to talk to Chai McBride because I would love to pick his brain because he's done so many. He did Boston, what was it? Boston Public, which was a David E. Kelly show. I love David E. Kelly. He did a show called. Go ahead.
You mean Boston Legal?
No, Boston Legal was also David E. Kelly, with James Spader and William Shatner.
I like that show.
But Boston Public was about the public school system.
Oh.
And it was on Fox. It was, he had Ally McBeal with them, so they picked up Boston Public. And Chai McBride was the principal of the school. The chick that was 7 of 9 on Star Trek Voyager, she came over. Jerry Ryan, she came over. I think the show was almost off the air at that point. But Quincy Jones' daughter, Rashida Jones, was on there. It was a good show. I think it only lasted for like 3 seasons, though. It didn't last very long. But David E. Kelly's a genius. He did Chicago Hope, L.A. Law. But Picket Fences is my favorite show from David E. Kelly. That's the first time I ever saw Don Cheadle on the air.
Is that streaming anywhere? You never see Picket Fences.
It's hard to get it. Let me see. Hold up. Boston Public was a work of art about the public. Yes, it was brilliant, but people didn't. They didn't do it.
Probably too real, too serious.
Maybe
it was just the wrong time for it.
They did all kind of. They touched all kind of stuff about problems that are going on in the public school system. I thought Boston Public. I'm sure it's available to stream somewhere. I thought it was brilliant. It was David E. Kelly's show.
Wait, was that what channel was it on? Was it CBS?
It was on Fox.
It was Fox. Okay, because I think a lot of CBS stuff now is just behind their stupid little app. Whatever. Yeah,
it's like let me see. Jerry Tiggo bit. Yeah, Jerry Ryan. Yeah, Jerry was still, she wasn't in her 50s then. I saw her on the Picard thing.
She still looks good.
She still looks good.
Yeah.
But see, now you say she still looks good for her age.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but you're not a man that's with a penis.
So why does it have to? But if she looks good, she looks good.
For her age. I have to put that addendum on it. No, I have to put it on there because
No, you don't.
Yes, I do because I'm always
why?
Evaluating.
What's your age range then? Like what's it? So if past 25, you won't go for it, Antonio. What is it?
It's like when I see Jennifer Lopez like shaking her ass now, and I'm like, oh God, you're like a mom with 2 kids. And
oh my God, is it
weird.
Just a mom thing?
Like 51 years old now, and I'm like, oh.
How old are you, Antonio?
45.
45. You're a grown man.
Yes.
You should be able to appreciate a grown woman.
Oh no, I'm not saying she's not hot, but I also know that when she take that makeup off, I'm probably gonna see some weird stuff that you see on older. I've been with.
That's almost anybody. That's anybody.
Yeah. But I've been with older women, and I've been with younger women. And hold on, you'll say, what's the date of expiration? Well, I definitely like when I'm on the dating apps. I don't want them to be older than me. I like to have I tend to put them out.
So you don't want a sugar mama. What if they were a sugar mama?
Oh God! If I can pull the scab off, maybe I can make it work. That's I say that, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not. Oh God! Weird shit. Not good. I don't know I don't know. Is it what I'm talking about, or are you talking about Jennifer Lopez's old ass shaking her ass and twerking and stuff? Because that looks weird to me now. She's like I said, she's like 51 years old. And she's shaking her ass and stuff. And I know, as someone who has had 50-year-old women hit on me, but they don't look like Jennifer Lopez. They don't. You don't get access to the Botox and all. You know what I'm saying? All the things that you can do, like when you have money and resources, and you can tighten. You can maybe. Oh, let me do a little nip tuck. Let me do a tummy tuck.
Right, but then again, without makeup up close, they're good. They look like.
It's like Eddie Murphy's ex-wife, Nicole.
Weird shapes.
Eddie Murphy's ex-wife, she's like 54 or 55. She's fucking smoking. That chick is hot. And she's had 5 kids. And she's incredible looking. She's Nicole Murphy.
Nicole Murphy.
she looks, but she's like see, she's like 54, 55 years old. And I've seen, she just, oh my God, she looks incredible though. That's that woman. But I know at one point it's probably gonna be like with Eartha Kitt in Boomerang, where Eddie Murphy is like, can we make it a little darker?
Well, those are definitely fake boobs, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have money and they can oh man.
Well, it's also people like different things. We obviously know what you like.
Adam Menezes.
She looks like Gollum.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm just saying, I'm saying.
That's why I go out in the world sans makeup.
It's like Antonio. Oh God, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Oh, I get a boat and a house on the beach. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I'm a champ. I can take one for the team. I'm willing to take
the
one
team,
for the team.
your team.
But I'm just saying,
Team Antonio.
I just gotta be honest, because it's like I see.
No,
like
it's best to be honest. It's best to be honest.
I'm seeing Jerry Ryan now, and I'm seeing Jerry Ryan from 20 years ago. And if I could have Jerry Ryan from 20 years ago, I'd be very happy.
As I was saying earlier, time marches on. Live in the present. You can do what you want with her old picture in your own time.
Yeah. Well, I still watch Voyager reruns, and they had her in a skin tight suit, and I mean, people obviously noticed it because she was married when she started that show, and then her and her husband split up, and she started banging the producer on the show. So,
did she get?
Yeah, she upgraded. Yeah, she was married and had a son with her husband. They had a child. But she's talked about that, what happened with the marriage, because they were living in different places. He didn't want to live. He was living in Chicago, and she moved to LA so she could work on the show full time.
I know. Why would you why get married then? Like, why not just hang out? You know what I mean? Like, just
she was doing little stuff. Like, she was an actress before that. And she had done some work, but she would just like, okay, I got this role, and she'd hop on a plane and fly out for a couple of weeks and shoot her stuff and come home. And then she got cast on a network show, so she's having to be out there for longer than just a few weeks.
Shit changes.
And then and the child was with her. Obviously she's not going to leave her child and leave with the father. The father's working. He, like I say, he stayed in like Chicago and stuff. She was hopping on plane, and she talked because she was still married to him for a while. I remember she went on one of these shows and she was like, "Yeah, we tried. It takes work, but we were like hopping on the plane every other week and stuff like that." So they were doing all this stuff trying to see each other. And then at some point they was like, all right, well, to hell with it. And they just gave up. They started having problems, and producer dude looked at her and he was like, yeah, you been looking real good in that skin tight Borg suit.
That Borg suit.
They put her, I mean, look at everybody. They know the suit that they had her on. In Voyager, I mean, my God, I mean, it made sure it accentuated her bosom and all that. I mean, she had so many posters, and the ratings went up. They've talked about it.
Speaking of bosoms, I'm gonna shift from Jerry Ryan real quick. Have you ever seen Just Shoot Me?
I hated
with
that
David
show.
Spade.
Yeah,
I hated that show. That's so unfortunate. But what's the Maya on that show has very big boobs.
I'm trying to remember who was the star on that, because it was
more of an ensemble.
Yeah, but they had it didn't have old chick. She was on
BoJack Horseman's mother, Nina.
God,
I can't remember her name right now.
Okay, I got it, Nessie, and I got to Google.
I like her.
Like, just shoot me, because I don't know. I can take
how about the episode with David Cross where he plays? There's an episode with David Cross where he plays Elliot, the photographer's brother, and he has had a head injury as a kid, and he's pretending to be like mentally disabled.
Oh, wow.
Because he gets mothered.
Okay, hold on. Like, so I'm looking at the show. I'm looking at the cast of the show.
Yeah.
And they had some hitters on here. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, Laura San Giacomo, because I remember she was in like Children of the Corn or something. I remember seeing her. She was doing a lot of these. They put her
in these shirts that are just like, wow.
But I was never a big fan of hers. But she was in, I remember she was like either in a Hellraiser movie or something like that. But But Wendy
Malick. I like
Wendy Malick. Yeah, because she
Yes.
was on that show on HBO with oh god damn it. What was the show?
I think
on?
she was also in Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Speaking of old ladies.
Hold up. Wendy Malick was on a show that I used to love. Dream On HBO.
Oh, she was
on Dream On. And I love that show.
Watched that.
Yeah, Dream On. I watched. Oh, Dream On is incredible. I wonder if you can still catch that. But I remember. Yeah, that's the David Cross episode. I did see Chicken Pop. He was playing like he was.
And then he just turns and like hits on Maya, like, "Hey, babe, want to get out of here?"
Yeah. And I was like, but the show wasn't that funny. I got to be honest.
It has good episodes. It has good moments.
But it's like that was when Must See TV was starting to struggle because they also had Veronica's Closet on Thursdays.
That's that Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, it was horrible too. Yeah, they had some horrible shit on Thursday because they was just like they had a solid. My favorite Must See TV was Friends, Seinfeld, Frasier, and then they put a shit show.
Yeah, I am not a Friends. I don't like Friends. Never have.
No, I loved all that. Even though
Seinfeld all the way.
Although Friends was what I call a perfect world, and I've had my white friends ask me what a perfect world is, and I was like, perfect world is no Negroes. That is a perfect world. There's no Negroes in a perfect world, and that's one of the things that Friends always got chided for, is because they're in New York and there was no black people.
There's no anybody else and nothing.
Yeah, it was just like there's no black people.
I just didn't like it because I didn't think it was very funny ever.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I enjoy it, but see, that's the thing.
Antonio, what about the Bette Midler Seinfeld episode where Kramer's like,
I love I was like, what was it? She made a lot of money.
Rochelle.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
And then she starts crying on stage.
No, here's another thing. That loses me my black card.
Yeah.
I love I love Bette Midler. I love her.
How do you bet? She's a great. I don't know. I like so many different things. How could you lose a card by liking something that's great? I think that's stupid.
Oh, it's just no.
I love Bette Midler too. We have a lot of shit in common, Antonio.
I love Bette Midler. I love her.
Oh, did they go to see Hootie and the Blowfish? Interesting.
Yeah.
Bette Midler is awesome. Do you like Beaches?
I was like, hold on. Yes, I watched Beaches. Hold on. Adam and Etta, black people.
Different World.
Okay, hold up. No, there was
from where you come. I watched Different World.
Yeah,
that was Thursdays.
Different World was supposed to be a black show. That was what it was. I mean, it's a Bill Cosby show. It's his daughter.
There was one. Marissa Tomei was the white girl on the first season.
Yeah, she was on one season, and then they was like, all right, let's get the white girl out of here.
And then Denise left too. Lisa Bonet was also out of there.
They got rid of her because when she got pregnant, and her and Bill Cosby had a disagreement, and then they made up and they brought her back.
I wonder what that disagreement may have been about.
It was when she was in Angel Heart, and he didn't like that she was a voodoo priestess, a Haitian priestess, whatever, doing having sex on camera with her breasts exposed.
Was that with Mickey Rourke?
Yeah, with what's the name? Mickey Rourke. Yeah. From Iron Man 2.
I used to spend every Thursday night at my grandparents' house. Actually, this house that I'm in right now.
And we would. I lost my straight card. Oh no! So that's the thing. If I was gay, I would just own it. It would be fabulous. I would just. I hit on these ladies too much. Trust me. I was like, I love these. I love the vag.
I love the vag. That's good to hear.
I love the vag, trust me. But I like show tunes sometimes. I like Oklahoma. I like
Antonio. Do you know that
Sinatra and Guys and Dolls? I love that shit.
I'm a show
last night
freak.
I got on the boat to heaven.
And by some chance I had brought my dice along. And there I stood, nicely panning out the whiskey. Yeah. We're on different parts, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm doing the beginning.
Like what? Yeah, I don't know what I'm
doing. Sit down, you're rocking a boat.
I did Guys and Dolls in high school, Antonio. I was the Cuban dancer. in that scene when they go to Cuba.
Oh yeah. You did the whole play? Because that movie
I did the musical, in high school.
Okay, that's why I was like, how long did the play run though? And was there an intermission?
There's always an intermission. Yeah, it's probably a couple hours or something like that.
I watched Benson.
I love musicals.
And Robert Guillaume, when he died last year,
Benson.
He's like, yeah. What
about Webster?
Webster was them copying Different Strokes where white people adopt Negroes.
Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born, he's a man of means.
The other day because it still disturbs me that the Maytag man tried to molest Gary Coleman on the air.
They had a few special episodes for sure.
It was a very special. I remember the episode that Nancy Reagan came on.
Was that an anti-drug episode?
Yeah, it was the anti-drug episode. Nancy Reagan.
Of course.
That was when because they left ABC because it used to be on ABC and then it moved to NBC.
Huh. And shows used to do that back in those days.
I think it was. Was that reversed? Was it on NBC first and then ABC? I think it was on ABC and then. I'm trying to remember. I think I'm thinking it was on ABC because it was Silver Spoons. I'm pretty sure it was on ABC too, which I love. Silver Spoons. Two silver spoons together. You and I, we're gonna find our way. I used to love it. No, Silver Spoons with Alfonso Ribeiro before he was
NBC. I think
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was where he got Alfonso. Well, first he got the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial. Alfonso Ribeiro. It was like 1984. He got the.
I don't remember.
Alfonso Ribeiro was an incredible breakdancer. He was doing. There's all this. He danced at the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles. I
didn't know that.
Cuba Gooding Jr. also danced at the '84 Olympics.
Huh.
He was also, I didn't know that. And
That's cool.
I didn't say it was like a interview like 10 years ago, and I saw him, and he was like, "Yeah." And they showed.
How old were they? Were they like teenagers or young men?
I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr. is like 50-something years old now.
I mean, were they all going to like the same performing arts high school or something? Because that wouldn't surprise me.
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s father was like, I thought his father was a musician, a jazz musician, or something like that. Actually, and his brother Omar, they're all actors. I mean, it's like say he grew up pretty. I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr. had like a storied life. He married his high school sweetheart, and she was, as a matter of fact, if you watch when he won his Oscar, although he divorced his high school sweetheart years ago, I was like, man, I was actually rooting for that. I was like, that was so sweet. He actually because
my parents were high school sweethearts.
That's what I'm saying. They were together in high school. He married her, and she had a couple kids, and looked like she kind of thicked up a little bit. And he stayed with her. They were still together, and I was like, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, that's the
way. That's the way.
She bore your children, for goodness sake.
And I'm like, and you stay with them. But what I see in Hollywood a lot of times, they go, oh no, it's time to trade you in. So Mighty Geek said his father was a musician. That's what I thought. But Cuba Gooding Jr. danced at the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles, and Alfonso Ribeiro did something there. That's what he was doing little dances and stuff like that. And they were doing an audition to find out. They were trying to find someone that could a child that could dance like Michael Jackson, obviously. So he sent in a tape or whatever. They saw him in something. They saw Alfonso Ribeiro, and he was dancing and doing the thing. Because I mean, that's what he used to do. I think he was on Star Search too. A lot of those kids, because like Beyonce was on Star Search. There's so many people. Sinbad was on Star Search. Rosie O'Donnell was on Star Search.
I tried out to be on Star Search.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we didn't make it on for dancing.
Okay.
Like, as a young girl, as a child.
Okay, so
I also tried out for a new Gong show.
So apparently Different Strokes was NBC and then ABC, because I remember there was a crossover between Silver Spoons and Gary Coleman made an appearance on he showed up on Silver Spoons. That's why I was like,
yeah, well, wasn't it a spinoff No, Facts
Oh,
of Life was a spinoff of Different Strokes.
Facts of Life was
That's what
definitely.
it is.
Take the gun, you take the gun, you
You
take
take
the
it, and then you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
What was it?
When their store burned down, do you remember when they had like some bakery store?
Yeah,
and then, like
they were running out of ideas.
they were like, and then Clorich Leachman came into the picture.
Because it was what Charlotte Rae, who had been on, she had been missing Gary.
Oh, girls.
Girls. Yeah, the housekeeper on Different Strokes. She was
Right.
those first few seasons of Different Strokes, she was the housekeeper. Then they brought some other woman in. They just brought another woman in. But when they spun off they spun off and did Facts of Life, and that's when we got Tootie and all these people.
Tootie on the roller skates. First season Tootie.
But I remember
her little like bob hair.
But it was, I was, you know,
I think she always had a lollipop too.
Kim Fields.
Then
Erin Gray. Erin Gray was she was the assistant on Silver Spoons, but I remember her from Buck Rogers? She was on Buck Rogers, not on, I was about to say Battlestar Galactica, but she was on Buck Rogers. I'm pretty sure she was on Buck Rogers.
Erin Gray.
I play some of these musics and not get. I need to have like all these different theme songs. I love to do a show where maybe I could if I just didn't monetize it, because I know they'll strike. Sometimes they give you like a strike, but it's not a real, because like the publishing company, they're like, oh no, don't take the video down. We want the money for the video.
Right. It's like advertising, free advertising, basically.
Like, because I got noticed like that one time. I played like 30 seconds of a song, and within an hour after I went off the air, I got an email, and they go, "You've been flagged, but we're not taking the video down, but all the money will go to the publisher."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, so that's the hustle right there."
I think Yul's got something like that before.
Oh yeah, that's it. Okay. So she was. That was Erin Gray was on.
Buck Rogers.
Yeah, Buck Rogers. Yeah, she was on Buck Rogers. That's why I'm like, duh, 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 duh. I was like, yeah, I love that theme song. Of, duh, 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 duh.
Were you a TV kid growing up, Antonio? Like I was, like just watching TV constantly.
We were talking about. I was talking with a buddy of mine about favorite theme songs the other day. And we were like, what's your favorite theme songs? And we were just going, we were talking about obviously Cheers, love Cheers.
And how many of them were written by Alan Thicke and or his wife? A lot of them.
Wrote, what the hell did he wrote?
They wrote a lot.
He used to work on Flip Wilson's. He was a comedy writer on Flip Wilson's show. He used to write the Geraldine skits and stuff. Nah, the devil made me do it. She used to do that. Flip Wilson used to do that. But Alan Thicke, yeah, he was a. But I knew he wrote the Growing Pains. He was obviously on Growing.
Well, he definitely did Growing Pains, but I'm gonna look here.
Show me that style again.
Show me that style.
Don't waste another minute on your crying. I was like, oh, I love that. That shit used to like, I used to love them. As long as we got each other. We got the world steady right in our hand, baby, rain or shine. All the time. And Leonardo DiCaprio, that was his first TV job on Growing Pains.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, but no, I used to watch Family Matter. It's a rare condition in this day and age to read it in
on the newspaper page.
Loving condition on the grand.
It's even harder to find.
There must be some magic glue inside the apple wall. As days go by. You know what show I hated?
You know what show I hated? Step by Step. With Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers.
Yeah, but
and, who's that kick fighter guy?
That one guy that got arrested for like murder or something. Oh my God, he was a big part of that show, and he beat the shit out of somebody.
He was like the good-looking older son.
Yeah,
I hated that show. Hated that.
Yeah, and they had to write him out. They were like, Oh man, but I'm
I
trying
don't
to.
know. I don't remember that theme
But
song.
no, favorite theme song of all time. It has no words. Hill Street Blues.
Oh, I have to try to
Doom
remember.
doom 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 doom. I love that, and I was like, I've heard there's been like rappers that take that sound. There was a song, and the dude couldn't rap that well. I was like, damn, I wish there was a good rapper on this beat because he took the Hill Street. As soon as I heard it, I got goosebumps. I said, oh shit, that's the Hill Street. And then I heard him rapping, and I was like, damn, you can't rap.
Oh, disappointing.
I was like, oh, that's bad. That's not good. So I was very upset, but. Hill Street Blues theme song is my all-time favorite. But Cheers, obviously.
Have you heard the full version of that song, Antonio? With the extra lyrics about the woman's husband wanting to become a woman? Yes.
I heard the lyrics to Bonanza, and I didn't even know they had. I didn't know. My mom used to watch Bonanza all the time, especially like in she used to watch reruns of Bonanza. And then they got TV Land, and then on Saturday and Sunday they would be her and my aunt. They would be glued to TV Land. They only played the theme song, the lyrics to the theme song of Bonanza on the pilot episode. I think it was we got a right to pick a little bite Bonanza.
Oh,
if anyone fights any one of us, he got a fight with me. And then it was a whole thing, and then they never played it again. And then after that, it was like
Antonio, I'm gonna sing you this lyric that's left out of the TV version of Cheers here. Roll out of bed, Mr. Coffee's dead. The morning's looking bright. And your shrink ran off to Europe and didn't even write. And your husband wants to be a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody. Anyway. Yeah.
You want to go where people know the trouble are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. I was like, I love that. The Friends theme song, I remember they were wearing that shit out. And what's so funny?
I had to do a tap dance to that song, so I hate that song.
The Friends theme song went viral before going viral was a thing because of our radio station here in Nashville, 107.5. There was a DJ there that took the song. So many people were calling in on 107.5. And this was before iHeartRadio bought it. It was years ago. Obviously, Friends came out like 20 years ago. But he downloaded the song off, or I guess he VHS it off the TV and took it and burned it onto whatever the little the little tape thing. He took it and looped it so it could be. He looped it into like about a 3-minute song.
Huh.
He was getting requests on the radio show here in Nashville to play the theme song. And at that point, he played it, and it became like that. And then other people around the country, and then what was that? The song, the band was called the Rembrandts.
Yep.
The band was called the Rembrandts, and then they actually had to go in and write a song.
Were they even a real band, or were they just like a studio?
They had another song. I remember they had one song, and then they tried to put an album out. They were like, "Hey, we're the guys that did the Friends theme song," and they played them on MTV, and it died.
Of course,
the only hit they had was the Friends, but they put the full version of the Friends theme song on their album. But that's the only reason that thing sold, because the rest of that album was trash. Nobody cared. Oh, hold up, Mighty Geek Studios. I love this. All right, yeah, don't forget the theme song to the greatest. Look what is happening to me. I can't believe it myself. Suddenly I'm on top of the world. Could have been somebody else. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. And it just had that nice little I love that. I love it.
I love a good like hook, a good singer, a good lyric, a good melody, a good tune. Give me a good tune any day.
Oh no,
I'm so old fashioned.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like, and I remember watching Barney Miller. He had the little weird interests, and obviously All in the Family. The Jeffersons theme song, and of course, Good Times.
Good Times. That's a fun
temporary layoff.
Good times.
Easy credit ripoff.
Good times. And thanks to the Dave Chappelle show, I know the next lyric. Standing in a chow line.
Yeah. We never knew. What was so funny? I was talking to Kanan. Kanan called me the other night, and I talked to him for like 2 hours and like almost 2.5 hours. Me and him. We were just talking about little things that we had planned for the next books and stuff, and just kind of going over things. And somehow me and him got to talking about Good Times, and we started messing around. We were both singing the song from Good Times. Ain't we lucky we got them? Good times. And I was like, oh, man, that was great.
I watched a lot of Good Times too.
Oh no, I love Good Times.
What about What's Happening? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah.
I was like, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I could go on a game show and they could hit me with those theme songs and I could get a bunch of them because I
want to see a game show like that. I love that.
I didn't have a lot of friends when I was, my brother was always more. I was more of an introvert. He was more out. He'd go out and he'll meet somebody 5 minutes and they're best friends and stuff. And that was never my style. It takes me a while to just bond with people and be able to have that kind of rapport. And I watched a lot of TV, so I would watch MASH.
That has lyrics as well.
Yeah, it does, but I don't know them. And
they're like ironic lyrics. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, the SWAT theme song. But I remember SWAT. Let's see. Hold up. I remember Dragnet. Dragnet didn't have a. It was more. This is the city. This is it was like you come in a certain way and stuff. Do you remember that horrible Dragnet movie with Tom Hanks and Dan?
I did not. I didn't. I do, but I didn't. I don't think I ever saw it.
So bad. He was supposed to be Joe Friday's grandson.
Ugh.
Oh God, that was. I'm like, that shows you Tom Hanks wasn't always a star. I mean, but he was coming off of movies like Splash, and I don't think he had made big then.
His name.
Because I was like, yeah, but he would. Because I was like, he would do movies. Let me see, because he did. Obviously, Splash was successful there. Although I hear the version on Disney Plus is edited, which pisses me off. They edited it because she had that scene where she comes, when she first comes out, she's on the beach and you see her bare ass.
Yep. I believe that is edited.
They edited that out on Disney Plus. So
a lot of things are getting edited these days.
Yeah, and it's very soy based. Stop doing that shit.
But I've watched this. I've talked with this about my sister before, and I give her I have 2 nephews.
Rockford Files definitely had a good theme song.
I love the Rockford Files.
Yeah, my mom loved. Oh, and Magnum PI.
Yep, my mom loved that too.
My mom loved Magnum PI.
I grew up watching. My parents didn't monitor what we watched, and I also grew up in a house where we always had cable, and so we had a lot of the movie channels, and we just watch whatever we wanted to watch. I was exposed to a lot of things as a kid.
No, what about this? What about this one?
Yeah.
Well, died to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine. I've been on fire with. Come on, you don't know that? That's the theme song to The Fall Guy, sung by Lee Major.
God.
This was his next series after the $6 Million Man, which the $6 Million Man theme song. And they would put the like, I love $6 Million Man. Even that horrible episode that Andre the Giant was on, where he played the Sasquatch or whatever.
Oh my God, I don't think I have.
Yeah, he played. They had a Bigfoot. Someone saw a Bigfoot and they thought it was a rib, and they went out. They obviously sent Steve Rogers out there to investigate because.
Oh, this is why I love the. Do you like the Venture Brothers?
Venture Brothers, I've seen that a few times. I got a buddy of mine that was huge into that show.
With the Venture Brothers. There's a funny thing with Steve Rogers and Sasquatch. And anyway, I won't go into it. You have to see it.
Daniel C. Critical Drinker did a great video on movie censorship. Everyone should check it out. Oh, I might need to peek that. Oh no, the Hulk. Okay, the Hulk theme was great. Okay, let's talk about that. I actually on my script for Brand Book 1. I actually told Kanan, I said, when we start the book off, I want Dawn to be, I specifically mentioned Bill Bixby from The Incredible Hulk. That's why she's hitchhiking it on the first page. It was supposed to be, I said, I want it to be like the Incredible Hulk where Bruce Banner is always, or what was it? His name wasn't Bruce Banner, it was David Banner on the show. For whatever reason, they changed his name to David Banner because they said, we don't like the alliteration of Bruce Banner.
Is that why? Really?
Yeah, the
it wasn't like legal reasons.
Yeah, even though his name was Bruce Banner in the comics, they didn't want to. So they said, okay, his name's David Banner on the TV show, and that's why the rapper David Banner calls himself David Banner because of the Bill Bixby television show. That's why he's David Banner. You know, so like, but salute to David Banner, by the way. But he named himself David Banner after the show. But they didn't want to use Bruce Banner. They thought it wouldn't play for a television audience. And so they changed, and Stan Lee was like, hell, y'all still paying us. I don't care. So he just let them do whatever. If Steve, why did I say Steve Rogers is Captain America, damn it. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, okay. But no, I specifically mentioned in my script to Kanan, when I sent Kanan the original script for Brand, I said, I want her to, be walking down the street hitchhiking. I want it to be like the Incredible Hulk because it was always the same, that little outro music, he turn into the Hulk and then you go, oh man, I have to leave again. I always on and he's hitchhiking and stuff. And he's out there, catching a trip to the next destination and stuff. Okay, here we go. Daniel C. Gilligan's Island is Gilligan's Island. Oh yeah, with Gilligan, the skipper too. Millionaire and his wife, a movie star, the professor and Marianne. Here on Gilligan's Island.
Is it the first season? It's just and all the rest.
Yeah. Right? They had to change. Yeah, they changed the. I noticed.
Marianne and the professor were screwed.
I saw some of those the early episodes that were like. I think the pilot was definitely in black and white. I
think a lot of them are in black and white. Actually,
yeah, there was like, it was weird. Like when you watch the later seasons, obviously they go in it now in Technicolor. And that's a big thing. It was like it's not in black and white anymore. Now it's in Technicolor. It's like when you watch I Love Lucy, and then they right towards it they go, oh, we're in color now. The honeymooners, they've.
Why do certain episodes? Oh, you know what? I'm wondering now if there's like I Love Lucy on Hulu. There's so many episodes that aren't up there, and I'm wondering now if it's because of like offensive reasons or some other.
Now let's talk about that. Desi Arnaz. There was an episode I watched, and he got on the train, and there was this black man. He said, "Thank you, boy."
So and maybe that is why
the porter was a black man. He said,
yeah.
Oh boy.
A man, not a boy.
Yeah, it was a grown ass man.
Child.
That's how they used to talk. But that's the thing. People don't understand it. That's why I always when people go, guys, racism, that was 50 years ago. That was 100 years ago. That shit still is on television and stuff. And I remember as a child, this is a grown ass man, and Desi Arnaz is like, oh boy. This a grown ass man he talking to, and my grandfather used to talk to me about shit like that. He would have young white dudes calling him boy And that was in the heart of Alabama. He was like 40 something years old and grown little dude about 20 years old. Like,
what did he tell you, Antonio, about like just stories, or did he like try to tell you how to deal with something like that?
He was back then. It wasn't just dealing with it.
People like
it's taking us all the way to this point where people are starting to go, hey, you know, we might need to change some of this shit. This is not right. Because you know, when I was born in 75, I was still getting called niggas and all kind of stuff when I was a little boy. They was being racist. I remember I was in the lunch line and this white kid called me a nigger and he spit on me, and the lunch lady saw it. She didn't do shit. And she was just
what?
Like, yeah, she didn't do shit. She just saw him spit on me, and she looked at him, and she just kept it moving. And I was like, that's why I knew what the deal was. I was like, it's just what it was. I was like, okay. I'm not gonna get any help here. This is like, I knew she looked at him, she looked at me, and yeah, I saw him spit on you. So what? I heard him call you nigga. So what? That's what it was. And so, you know, I grew up like that. People used to do, my dad was in the Army 23 years. And when my brother turned 18, there had been a recruitment officer. You know, I don't know if they probably still do this at high schools now. They send the military out to the schools every year around a certain time, and they go out and, hey, you know, we're from the Air Force and we'd love to have you and we'll pay your way through college. You know, they come out and they come talk to all the students that are in the senior classes and stuff. Let them know, hey, there's a lot of opportunities in the U.S. Army or whatever for you. So my brother was talking to the Army, and I remember he went back down to Alabama. We had moved up to Tennessee at the time, but he went down to Alabama. My dad was sick, and he went down there and talked to him. And he told my dad that he was thinking about joining the Army. Like I said, my dad was in the U.S. Army. He retired as sergeant. 23 years. And he told my brother, he said, the Army ain't no place for a black man. He told my brother that after he had done 23 years in the Army.
Right.
But he also, him and my uncles, they told me horrifying stories that, I mean, the way the military used to be able to do, they could hit you, like you being like, when you're in boot camp stuff, they could slap you, hit you, call you, you know, they would call you whatever. They would just say whatever. They could just get away with it. It wasn't
right.
Now, if you do that, they send them to sensitivity training.
Right.
It's like, oh, that drill sergeant. I don't know if that's
if they get told on.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's weird now. The military doesn't seem like the military now, because like the way my dad described the military, and like a lot of these older vets that I've talked to, that's the military. Like when you watch like heavy metal,
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, when you watch a movie like Full Metal Jacket, that shit's accurate. That's the military that my father described to me. It was hardcore. You know what I'm saying? Now there's sensitivity training. And I'm like, it's weird to me. And I'm like, that's not the military that my father described. But my father told my brother, he was like, the military, the Army ain't no place for a black man. And I'm like, because my father described all kind of racist shit that happened to him when he was in the Army. But I'm like, say, he was stationed in Alabama. My dad was from Virginia. Well, I mean, we grew up in the South. My dad was born in Goochland, Virginia. You know, joined the Army. Somehow ended up in Alabama. Met my mother. Obviously she had my sister already from her first marriage, and then had my brother, and I was almost born in Germany because she was my dad was stationed over in Germany, and he was wanting my mom to come over, and she talked to her doctor because she was pregnant with me, and he told her, yeah, you can go. But because she wasn't going to just go over for like a week or something. If she's going to Germany, she's going to overstay for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And he told her it's going to be a one-way trip for the amount of time you want to stay. So you can go, because she was going to go stay at least a month, you know. And she told, the doctor told her, it's like, yeah, you can go and it'll be safe. But the return, I wouldn't recommend.
It'll be too pregnant for the way back.
To fly back, yeah. And so the baby will be born in Germany. So she talked to my father about it, and they decided that she was going to stay with her sister in Alabama. So she stayed with my sisters, all looked after her. And I mean, my mom had like 7, 8 sisters. I mean, I think it was, I'm trying to think, like 9 altogether.
I wonder what German law is. I wonder if you would have had dual citizenship.
I would have been a U.S. citizen. I found that out because
would you have been a German citizen though as well?
I'm not sure about that, but I know the kids. It's like when you're in the Peace Corps. Like I know that you can actually do the, you can still be a U.S. citizen or whatever. Let's see. TJ Swan. Oh, my mother just passed 3 hours ago, and I got you in the background, and you're saying, "Put a smile on." Oh man, I lost. I've talked about losing my mother a few times, and so yeah, I lost my mother. Yeah, man.
I lost my dad a few years ago.
I mean, both my parents are gone. I lost my dad when I was 15. And matter of fact, the trip that I'm talking about when my father told my brother not to join the army, he was gone about 6 months later. He was dead. So I was supposed to go on that trip and I didn't get to go. So that would have been the last time I got to talk to my father. But TJ Swan, thank you. And God bless you, brother. Trust me, I can sympathize. Definitely. But I'm glad that we can put at least a little smile on your face because this is a fun stream.
We're just doing whatever. But actually, I'm
gonna
quickly check a work email I got actually. As we
I forgot you're earning a living. I forgot about all that.
I do. Well, I kind of do it on at my own,
But my father and my uncles, they had some crazy, like being older. My dad did two tours in Vietnam, and he was over in Korea for a little while. He did, like I said, 23 years in the army, and even after 23 years, he was like, yeah. That's not the place for a black man. Don't join. I think the military is different now, and I still, obviously still respect the military. It's like I said, my dad, but I almost, like I said, I was almost born in Germany, and unfortunately, once my mom, talked to my father, and they decided that she wasn't going to come over because she didn't want to stay in Germany, and because she was going, bring my brother and all that, so we all would have been in Germany, and my dad unfortunately didn't get to see me until I was 8 months old.
Oh wow.
So when he flew back to the States, and I was 8 months old. And funny thing is, he for whatever reason, he started telling my mother. Sometimes my dad would drink, which is why they ended up getting divorced. My dad would drink and he would just say outrageous shit. He'd be kind of a crazy drunk. And he was getting drunk, and he was, they were talking on the phone. And he had, like I say, he hadn't seen me yet. And he's calling from Germany, and they're arguing. He's telling my mom that he doesn't think I'm his son.
What?
He's telling my mother, my mom and one of my aunties was telling me this stuff, that my dad had doubts that I was his child. I guess because he was in Germany and I was in Alabama. And what was so crazy, he said, but he said, we got your dad from the airport, and he said, we got him back to the house. He said, he walked into the bedroom, you was in the crib. And he said, my aunt told me, I stood up and I looked at him, and he looked at me. He said, that boy looks just like me.
Yeah.
And he never said I wasn't his son again. He was like, he couldn't deny, because he looked at me, because I've looked at photos of my dad, and he can't deny. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I started to see, because a lot of people, like people that knew my father, they were like, man, you started to favor your father. It's crazy. They see my mother in me too, because I definitely have my mom's nose and stuff like. But they like, man, you look like my father's name was Leroy Sylvester Bryce, and it was. But yeah, he was telling my mother that he had started to have, I guess, because like I said, he wasn't out of sight, out of mind. He was like, what if it ain't my baby? What if it ain't my baby? The dates, I was over there, and I was stuff, pregnant and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And then my auntie told me I stood up in the crib, and I stood up in the crib, and he looked at me. He said, that boy looks just like me.
Are you the youngest, or are there more of you?
I am the youngest. Yeah. I said, Dito, that's how blood tests were done. And boy, yeah, well, Yeah. Well, I'm pretty positive that I am Leroy's son. I'm pretty positive of that. You know, me and my brother were damn near twins. He had no doubts that my brother, well, he was there when my brother was born, but he wasn't there when I was born. Like I said, he didn't see me till I was 8 months old. And, you know, but my dad, you know, like I said, he had some doubts, I guess, because he was in Germany and, you know, calling crazy. That's crazy. Like my mom, it's like when we moved to Tennessee, it's strange how the technology has changed. Because like I'm in Murfreesboro and my mom worked in Nashville. She worked at Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institute. She worked there for like 13 years, worked for the state. And every now and again, I had to call to Nashville. You know, like we'd be little kids. I'd be like 7 or 8 years old. And I'd be a little, you know, like, Mom, I need to talk to my mom. It was a long distance call from Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro is only like 40 minutes away from Nashville. That was a long distance call though.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just a cell phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's just flat. I can call California. It's not long distance. Everything's crazy. But that's what it was. You know, it was like, oh man, but I remember you really had to, Mom, can such and such have dinner with us? You calling me for that? You know how the phone bill is? And I had to learn to speak quick. You know what I'm saying? Or there was another little trick my brother picked up. Like you call collect. He was like, okay, I'm gonna need to be picked up. I'm gonna call collect, but don't accept the charge. When I call and they say it's from Roderick, you say, no, I'm not accepting the charge and hang up and then come pick me up. And that's when we started. We started gaming like that. So we had to figure stuff like that out because they would charge it. I'm like, I talked to my mom for less than 5 minutes and the call was like almost $3.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was crazy. I was like, like I said, Nashville's not that far from Murfreesboro. Let's see. My dad said something similar about my brother. He said, this kid better have dimples or he's not mine. My brother had huge dimples and the matter was, well, there you go. So yeah, it's like that. I don't know if that boy is mine. You know, I'm over here, you over there. But like I said, he saw me and he was like, that boy looked just like me. And then like I said, he never denied me after that. He never, you know, my middle name's Dushan. He said, that's my little shiny baby. And that's it, you know, and that's
cute.
But I remember my dad used to kiss me and his mustache would tickle. My dad would kiss him. Hey, it tickles.
My dad had a beard. He wasn't really a kisser though. We weren't. I don't know. I was very close with my dad. The one thing I miss about my dad is if I could just hang out in the garage with him right now, listen to Jethro Tull and smoke a huge fat joint. Like that's what we would do. That's what we would do.
It's weird. My brother smokes weed with his kids now. It's crazy. My brother be blowing some trees with his children. I was like, that's crazy.
It's a great bonding experience.
I mean, my brother got 4 kids, right? So they all, you know, it's like, I know my 2, matter of fact, I need to ask Naomi if she smokes weed now. Because before they were like, Naomi don't smoke weed, Dominic don't smoke, because Dominic was like 11. So he don't smoke weed.
Sure. I wasn't like a child doing this.
But the ones that was 18, well, hell, they was smoking. I know he was letting my nephew Anthony smoke when he was like 17. He was like, smoke. I'll let him smoke a little something.
My sister was a little more wild than I was.
Yeah, but I mean, they came here and they was wanting to smoke some weed. They came to visit me and they was like, I could see my sister-in-law, she was definitely wanting to get blazed up. And they was like, and my brother was like, yo, Tone, man, I know you don't smoke in your house, man, but I was like, go in the bathroom, man. They went in the bathroom and they put the little fan on in there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I started smelling this. I mean, they was blowing up in there. And I mean, my brother went in there and smoked. My brother and my sister-in-law, they went in there and smoked. And then they let my nephew and my oldest nephew come in and he smoked up something. And then my younger nephew, Anthony, they went in and they all in there just with, and they was like, all right, good. I need it. Then they went and got him something to eat.
Is it not a good idea to do it outside, like around where you live? Or
I'm in an apartment complex. They didn't want to be out there smoking. But
I'm in California. It's like everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's still not legal here.
Right, right.
That's a weird conversation because it's weird. And someone said something the other day that I thought was really, really deep because there's so many people that are still on drug charges now in states where it's legal.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I was like, shouldn't they be letting those people out or something? Real talk.
I think so, but I'm sure there are legal reasons why not.
So years the rule was smoke with your parents and not get in trouble. Well, there you go. That's but like I said, he smoked, and I was like, I don't know. I don't have children, so I was like, I don't know. I got too many friends that smoke pot and everything, but I was just like, I don't think you should be smoking weed with your kids. But my brothers raised good children. They're all good. They're all good kids.
I don't know. I was talking to you about this before we went on the air a little bit, but I grew up around it. My dad grew weed in our backyard when I was growing up. And he had these VHS tapes where my dad and his friend would do these little shows, like talk like a weed show, like talking about. And I'm like 1 year old, and they're like carrying me and like and I'm like playing with the like pot leaves, going all this stuff. I don't know. I just grew up around it. They never. My mom didn't partake. My mom doesn't smoke. But my dad was a huge pothead.
Like, okay, when I go out, like in the morning, I got to go and drop these packages off to the post office, right? So whenever I come back, I go around the same time because I try to go to the post office thing real early, so it's not very crowded. I try to, as soon as they open, let me get in there, drop my shit off, and get out, so that I'm not in there with a bunch of people and stuff.
Yeah,
just drop the shit off and go, right? So whenever I come back, there's always this old white dude sitting there smoking weed on the porch. He's in the next building over, and I see him. He'll wave at me. He just sit out there smoking weed, and you will smell it's strong. Sometimes his son lives with him, and his son's like 40 something. But this is an old dude. The dude look like about 65 or so. He's an old hippie with a thick beard.
Yeah,
he seems like a nice guy. He just sitting out there smoking weed.
Most potheads are.
I'm just saying. He's like, hey, buddy. Hey, how you doing? And I just go on by my business. He'll see me pushing my because I got a little cart that I got all the packages loaded on. I'm pushing it. He sees me like, hey, buddy. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I smell the weed. I see him out there just smoking. And I'm like, they're out there smoking weed in the public.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like, well, it's still not legal here, but nobody's saying anything, though. We got a lot of college kids in the building, too, I noticed. There's a lot of college kids, and they all smoke. Sometimes I smell them smoke, and the way the filter system goes, like I smell the smoke coming from, it comes from there upstairs, and because I'm on the bottom floor, and
That's not that great if you're not into it.
I don't smell. I want pot brown.
It doesn't bother you?
I told my ex, me and my ex, because she told me, she smoked weed. She lived in Alaska. She lived all over. I think she said she lived in Canada too. But she did some traveling. She did some missionary work. She was over in what was it, one of these countries over in Europe, or whatever, Milan, somewhere. She was over there. Malta. That's where it was.
Okay, Milan is a city.
Yeah, she was over in like Malta, and she was over there for like 6 months, and having different languages, all that. So she was my ex was real culture shit, had a PhD and all this kind of thing. Or was it I think it was a bachelor's in psychology. And all her family had like multiple degrees. She played like multiple musical instruments and stuff. She played like at least 6 different instruments, because I know she could play. Wow. She played a lot of percussions, and she played piano and stuff like that. And I was like, it was crazy because my brother has taught at least 2. My oldest nephew and my middle nephew both play the piano, and my youngest nephew Dominic, he's learned because their grandfather is a musician. He played in country band. I go to his house. He got fiddles, guitars, bass.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so they grew up and they just all play different instruments. So it was crazy. Like that was one of the last memories my mother had before she died. They all came down. This trip that I'm talking about, where they came down, it was the last trip that she got to see all the grandbabies. And they came down. And my oldest nephew, he was too busy wanting to chase ass, and he really didn't want to go. And my brother looked at him, was like, "You going down there to see mama?" Because I told him, I said, she's getting sick, man. I don't know how long she's going to be. And I'm glad they made the trip. She was dead like a year later. Because it was crazy. I was like, man. But my brother was like, yo, he's like, Tone, you was telling us to come down there. He said, it costs a lot of money to get us down there, too. He said, I really didn't have it. I'm so glad we made that trip, man. Because
that's awesome.
Like, the thing about it, a year later, she was gone, man. And all the family came down. So it was crazy. It's like my brother, his wife and the 4 kids, they all came down, and and they actually, my brother took his cell phone, and my mom had a baby grand in her living room.
Wow.
And my middle nephew, he sat down at the computer. I mean, he sat down at the piano and he played. And they had footage of him playing the piano for my grandmother, and she was so happy. She was like, oh, she was so happy that he was playing the piano.
That is
and
awesome.
It just brought such a smile to her face, to see that. And I think about stuff like that now. I think about my mom a lot now. It's just I'm curious how she would be now, or what she would think about how my life has turned out. And
I think about those exact same things. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But like I said, I talked to my niece the other night, and because she graduated, which I tweeted that picture out a couple of days. My brother and his wife, they had this photo of, it's her and my sister-in-law and my niece and my youngest nephew Dominic, and they're all, she's got her cap and gown on, and she's got her diploma and all that, and she's got a big smile on her face. I'm so proud of her. She's just the sweetest little thing. Naomi, I love her. She's just an awesome young lady. I mean, my brother raised great, and I'm talking the way me and my brother were always different. My brother, he was just a different person. He was, he kind of.
You were saying he was super outgoing and stuff.
Yeah, but he's also a criminal, and I wasn't.
Oh,
my brother was like, he was in gangs and all kind of. Yeah, it's like,
damn.
He changed his life. He turned his whole life around, and like I said, him and his wife been together for over 25 years. Man, they've been.
That's awesome.
He's been with her since I was 15. His wife's like a month older than me. She was born. We both born in 75, but she was born in February of 75. I was born in March of 75. So, but when I was 15, they got together, and I'm 45, and they're still together.
That's amazing.
But they've been married since I was 19. So, but it was it's crazy, man. They're still together, and like I said, 4 kids and the whole thing, man. But they live in Kansas, and it's the way my brother, his life, and always, they say he was always getting in trouble, always getting in stuff with the law, and to turn all that around and to see the way, I was curious how his kids was going to turn out. I was like, is his kids going to be like him, and they're going to end up getting in trouble, getting arrested and all that? No, man, just straight good kids. My oldest nephew like going hunting and fishing and stuff. I mean, he's a country boy. That's what my nephew's a country boy. He's always posting up pictures of different trout and shit that he caught it. That's what he smoke a little weed, but that's all he doing. He just smoking some weed and holding up pictures of trout. And
enjoying life.
Yeah, he's just eating deer meat and shit. That's what he's doing. I was like, he ain't out. Like, hey, let me go sell some crack rock to other black people. Let me go sell crack rock to the Negroes in the neighborhood or something. He's not doing that. He out there working a job. I know he like work on cars and all that. I was like, man, I told him, I said, the way me and your father grew, I was like, me and his father, we was in the hood. It was hard out there, like living in the ghetto. That's crazy. Like
I don't know. I don't.
It's crazy, man. It was like we living in the hood, and I'm talking about, being on food stamps and seeing dope fiends all around and doing all, and then to see how, it's good that we all got up out of that. And like I said, he raised 4 great kids. They, no crazy stuff with the law. They all going to school. All great. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I was like, that's beautiful, man. I loved it. It's good. It's, it brings a smile to my face to see that. Cause I was like, the way we came up. Hell, my brother said this a few days. He said, man, I should have been dead. All that stuff I was doing, I should have been dead. I shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? He said, instead, I'm getting to watch my children, walk across the graduation line, and I got a good job that's legal, and I'm making good money, and I'm able to provide for my family and just do all that. And I was like, that's beautiful, man. I love it.
And that makes him happy and his life happy, and that's awesome.
That's why I'm like, it's that's why, one thing I tweeted out the other day, where you start ain't always where you're gonna finish. That's
no, yeah. Things take you down different paths, and you just kind of sometimes just gotta go with it. You gotta go with the flow and figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
Try to, just try to make the best choices you can and try to figure out if you fucked up, along the way. You got to learn from your mistakes the best you can.
Absolutely.
It's hard.
Whew. Well, I think that is the last word for the day. I think that we've been going for a good bit. This is a good stream. I've enjoyed everybody hanging out with us. I appreciate everybody. Again, TJ Swan, my thoughts and prayers to you and your family, brother, because trust me, I can relate. Both my parents are no longer with us, and so I can definitely sympathize with you. And but Jill, is there anything you would like to say before I close this bad boy out?
No, I just thanks everyone for watching, and maybe we'll talk again.
Yeah, we definitely
a B&B stream here. Bryce and Bryce.
Bryce and Bryce. I can do that.
Bryce.
All right. Well, other than that,
I'll just give a boop to everyone out there and to you.
A little boop, boop. But of course, hadn't done much shilling here. Not. Obviously, we've got Brandway of the Gun on Indiegogo. There, we're getting close to that $23,000 mark. We're $101 away from hitting that $23,000 mark. So,
wow.
If you are so inclined and you are considering supporting us, we would appreciate it. Other than that, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, right here on YouTube, all at Akari Press. AkariPress.com will take you to Brandway of the Gun. Check us out on Amazon and Teespring if you want to get some crazy shirts and merch with all our crazy graphics that came in. I'm about to put some more stuff up there. I'm about to put that Fame and all that other stuff. I'm about to put about 3 or 4 new designs up and tweet those out. Appreciate everybody that's been buying those, and thank you for that. Other than that, we're out.
Bye.